Morning Live. First, let's talk about the street names. How many streets does Tshwane have?
Well, we have well over 1,000 streets. That includes national, provincial, and municipal roads.
Would this include street names, say, in the city centre, Acacia, Garankua, all of those kinds of places? Okay.
Yes.
And of those, of the 1,000, how many are you changing?
Well, the council decision asked us to look at 27 names.
Okay.
We finally went to council to approve changes to 25 of those.
25 of the 27. And
yes.
These are mainly in the city centre?
These are mainly major arterials in the city centre, but they do extend into parts of Soshanguve and Pretoria North areas.
Okay. Now, the court has ordered you to stop removing old street names for a while. What will your response to this be?
Well, we had a discussion on the matter over the weekend, and we've agreed that we will pursue our legal avenue to, in fact, appeal that decision. We do think it's, with all due respect to the judiciary, it's a decision which incurs on the purview of the executive, in the sense that the retention of the dual names was a decision of council, and council was very specific in terms of how long we carried those names. So we've in fact gone beyond the 6-month period approved by council, and we're now at the point where we're beginning to remove the street names.
Yeah. The AfriForum is also arguing that the Metro's decision to rename streets with neutral names, such as Zambezi Drive, this is questionable.
Well, look, I mean, the perspective from which we moved was that the inner city, particularly, and the city in its general sense, needs to reflect the times. It needs to reflect the transformation of our country and indeed of our city. And, you know, our city is not, you know, it's the capital of our country. So in a way, it's how the international community looks at our country through the eyes of the capital city. So in that sense, we thought it was important that the street names begin to reflect this transformation and begins to reflect the completeness of our history. And that's why if you look at the choice of the new names, you'll find that in fact it represents a diverse contribution of the struggle for emancipation and freedom in our city. Yes.
What is the reason for changing the street names?
Well, exactly that. I mean, the capital has to reflect the personality of the nation in its broad and diverse sense. And the reality of our situation is Pretoria represented the bastion of what apartheid was. And in that sense, the city, in its makeup, in spatial form, in how the names of the city of streets were articulated, represented that one-dimensional view to the completeness of our history. And that's why the effort of the street names was to introduce that diversity and begin to have a city form and shape that reflects in a better way the broader diversity and the broader contributions of people in our city.
Yeah. Have you sought to engage with the concerns of AfriForum? Why AfriForum is unhappy? How to bring them on board to be part of this journey? Because AfriForum is also part of this diverse landscape that you talk about.
Look, the council decision to initiate the name changes goes back to 2007.
Right.
And we've been engaged in a process of engagement, consultation since 2007, up to and including the time we went to council last year to have the final name change approved. So in that way, we have been consulting, not just AfriForum, we've been consulting the community of Tshwane in its very broad sense. If you look at, if you look at the names carefully, if you interrogate those names, you'll find, in fact, that it represents that broadness. So even in the new names that we've introduced, you'll find leading Afrikaner academics, you'll find leading Afrikaner contributors to the religious community, like you will find people who've contributed politically, people who've contributed through our judiciary, through the academia. I mean, one of the literary giants that comes from our city, Pillay, has been honored as part of this process. So we think that, I mean, the 27, in fact, let me just make the point that I was saying that we had asked for 27 names to be changed. We finally did 25. And that was so that we would be able to retain the name of Pretoria Street and the name of Paul Kruger Street. And you know that these names represent a very important association with the Afrikaner community. So in that way, we sought also to bring on board the Afrikaner community as part of this overall transformation process.
Do you still intend to change the city's name from Pretoria to Tshwane?
Well, that matter, as you know, we have expressed ourselves. There is that intention to rename or to refer to the city as the city of Tshwane, and in that sense make that application. The matter is before the Minister of Arts and Culture, who is the final custodian, yes.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Subesh Pillay is a member of the Mayoral Committee in the city of Tshwane, joining us this morning. You may have some thoughts about our conversation. Tweet Wareta Mbulivuyo at Leanne Manners. We're going to